Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, January 17th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see down here will still be moving around. That's because the market's open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol NIO. And the bloodshed continues. Mapped out these levels yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level. And the first key update comes just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And you can see that actually played out this morning. There was the gap down, and then the price tried to make a move up, but hit its head right there on that now red line. So if there is any sort of bigger bounce, right there at 705 is going to be that first key battleground that you're going to want to watch. Actually, what I'm doing in the near term is I'm just going to drop this line down because even 705 is kind of irrelevant right now given how far the price dropped today. But in much more so the near term, key level to watch can be right there at $6.65. And then from the overarching standpoint, just continue to watch that purple line there, the famous 50-period moving average. Keyword being moving, so as time goes by, that line is going to move itself lower and lower and continue to get more and more relevant. In terms of areas of support, nothing fancy here at all. Literally just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today? And it stopped right down there at 645. So let me change that to green for support. So like I said, no fancy logic there. Just a question of where did the bleeding stop? And it finally stopped at 645. So that'll be that main area of support. But all in all, very rough way to start off the week. Next one here, ticker symbol PHUN. Absolutely monster volume today. Big price movement. So moral of the story, I'm pretty sure everybody in their, everybody in the penny stock world, not necessarily traded this one, but has heard of it and is probably going to be watching it, which is always good for penny stocks because the more the merrier, the more volume you have. Always a good thing from a liquidity standpoint in penny stocks. So as of right now, as far as pullback levels, because right now the price is basically knocking on the door of these breakout points. But for those people that like to play more so pullbacks, interesting level right here at the 35-cent mark, which is essentially the top part of this breakout area right here. So right there you can see was a resistance and then resistance, and that just goes to the rule that when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, they tend to act as support. Actually, you can see that right there already acted as support right there. Now, does that mean for sure guaranteed it'll act as support moving forward? Of course not. There is no such thing as a guarantee, but is it at least rational to think that that 35-cent mark could be an area of support? Absolutely. So if you like that as a pullback area, keep an eye there. If you want more of a deeper pullback area, then there's a little consolidation right down here around that 24-cent mark. So we'll map that out. In terms of areas of resistance, as of now, just a question of where did the party finally stop? And it finally stopped today right up there at the 48-cent mark. So 48 cents going to be public enemy number one moving forward. The good news here, though, is that the price is still very much so within striking distance. It doesn't have to travel a great distance at all before it can go up there and do battle with it again. So that doesn't mean it'll for sure be broken. But like I said, it's more than reasonable to think that the price could get tested and do battle with it again on, within the next couple of days. So we'll see what happens. But all in all, monster volume, great price movement. Got to think there's going to be so many eyeballs watching this one tomorrow. Next one, LAES, and nice mover today, although granted it did pull back some. So I suppose there's a little bit of perspective that goes into this. Meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you're buying up around there and wanting to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, chart looks really bad. But assuming you care about more so the bigger picture, put in a nice little move to the upside. Yeah, it's just pulled back, but within the grand scheme of things, to add in a little bit more context, you can still see that this is still very much so in an upwards trend. But I do want to map out a level, and this is an area that you got to think a lot of people are watching. And I say that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So if the price were to turn itself around, get back up to that trend line, and then finally break through it, could that break in and of itself create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible outcome. So keep an eye on that, especially if you like to play breakouts. In terms of areas of support, interesting level to watch if there is any sort of pullback right down there around $2.28. So keep an eye on that. Also in the very near term, you can see the price is currently just sitting right atop that purple line there. So that would be the ideal level for it to hold. But if it doesn't, not the end of the world because you do have then that 228 mark. Next one here, ticker symbol MARA, and the downtrend continues, although got less violent today. So sure, it did put in a new low today, but not nearly as extensive as the past couple of days. So if you want to try to look at the glasses half full, I suppose that's the way you could do it. Going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. But first update, which you've already heard me say, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. You can see right here, played out absolutely perfectly today. Price broke down below that level at 1830, and then right there acted as resistance, and then afternoon once again acted as resistance. So it does not mean that 1830 can never be broken. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is getting rejected at that level, and that moving forward, that'll remain a key level that'll need to be broken if there is going to be any sort of attempted turnaround. In terms of levels of support, same question that we've asked on some previous ones. At this situation, just where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at 1725, which a couple of times it did get tested. So you can see opening 30 minutes bounce, and then later on got tested again and is now bounced. So maybe 1725 is some sort of bottom. That remains and still needs more confirmation, but you got a little bit of confirmation. If the price rolls back down here and gets another bounce, then you're looking at a potential triple bottom type bounce, which could provide a good solid upwards movement. But yeah, as of now, MARA remains fully in the bear's control. Next one here, AMC, and the bloodshed just continues. Pretty crazy movement. I mean, this thing has just put in a newer low for several days in a row. So once again, get some updates made here. Whoops. And we'll first update here, just supports become resistances, as you heard me say. But again, I'm going to go ahead and adjust this level down now because there's more relevant levels. So in the very near term, that first key level of resistance now to watch, going to be right there at $4.30. So keep an eye on that if it does try to turn itself around. But from the overarching standpoint, just continue to watch that purple line. As I said previously, I don't remember which one, but moving average with that line is just going to continue to move itself downwards. So if you want to envision that as a downtrending line that's going to draw itself for you, that's one way you can look at it. And then once again, because this thing is at all-time lows, so as far as can you look back and find other supports, you really can't, other than just saying, well, where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at about $4.13. So if history continues to play out as it's been, it's looking like 413 will be broken on Wednesday, but no guarantees. However, like I said, the trend recently has been lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. So would it shock anybody if there's a lower low on Wednesday? I don't think so. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online web class that I'm offering here in a couple of days. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, NKLA, and a lot of bloodshed on this one too. Going to go ahead and just get rid of these levels up here as they've served their purpose. And the reason why I'm following a lot of these stocks is they are relatively popular stocks, borderline cult stocks. And when you have cult stocks getting absolutely beat down, people are looking for any excuse at all to buy, which from a trading standpoint, how we're looking at it, can produce some very worthwhile movements. So yes, this one continues to just drop and drop and drop. So I understand the perspective. Clay, why do you even bother with this? It just keeps dropping. You're absolutely right. But again, cult stock, beat down. Can there be some worthwhile bounces? Yeah, absolutely. So one way to kind of just gauge if there is any sort of bounce that's starting to get turned around and maybe some upside pressure is that line right there, which is a very steep trend line, but that just shows how much the price has gotten beat down. And as I've said, I'll probably say another dozen times, no guarantees, but is it plausible if the price comes up here and then can get through that line that could finally signal some people to want to hop in because I think it's bouncing and might, be a reversal? Then yeah, I think that's a very logical area to watch for that. In terms of areas of support, then like a lot of these other ones, because they're at lows that have not been seen for a very long time, just look at where the price bounced today, and that's kind of revealing where the buyer stepped at least for today, at 63 cents. But in my opinion, catching a falling knife, relatively risky, but if you can get some sort of turnaround and some sort of confirmation that this thing is trying to show some strength by pushing up through that trend line, I think that presents a potentially interesting opportunity if you like this price range. Next one here, ticker symbol AMD, and just a classic technical pattern here. So by no means am I trying to impress you, or am I trying to imply that this is some sort of great discovery on my part. I assure you a lot of people have drawn this pattern, and I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, as I've already said, it can create self-fulfilling prophecies. So let me just take it to one color to make it easier to see. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upwards move here. For you golfers out there, try to make it more visual, put the golf hole down here. We have a bull pennant pattern. So guarantees, no, but is it plausible? Is it valid that if the price can come up here and get the break to the upside, that break could cause AMD to just build that much more momentum? Absolutely, especially when you think that AMC, pretty popular stock. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And an interesting chart here as this thing, yes, it did put in a lower low, but certainly did, I'm going to get that level out there, return a very, very impressive bounce. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Even if you hate Tesla, you got to admit and you got to acknowledge that, yeah, from where it was at its lows to where it was able to bounce, good, solid move. But is there any sort of true power behind this movement? Valid question. And in my opinion, that's where this 217 mark comes into play. And I'm not saying this will be the case, but for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down to 217 and then just fall down below it, what would that be doing to the price? That would quite literally be putting the price right back inside of this area of the chart where it just was. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. But also, to be fair, nothing can go just straight up. So maybe the price comes down here, but in this situation, curls around and then bounces back upwards. Now, all of a sudden, what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows there. You'd have lows there. And if you envision those as stair steps, you got stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. And that's what a truly strong move is going to do. It's going to show signs of progress. So in this situation, the quote-unquote show signs of progress is being defined as staying above 217. In terms of areas of resistance, just watch that purple line, which I've talked about before. That'll be that main battleground. But in my opinion, the big question mark moving forward is, yes, big bounce. Was it a strong bounce or truly strong bounce? Let's see if it can make progress by staying above 217. Next one here, SAVE. Quite the 30-minute session. You can see right there. Just I'm guessing some sort of terrible news. More bloodshed, but now there's a bit of a bounce. So it's really just a question of, is this some sort of overblown, kind of emotional reaction where this thing's getting ready to create some sort of V-shaped recovery? Maybe. Now, to be fair, maybe not. Maybe this thing rolls back over. But that's what a watch is all about. Finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not rushing out and randomly buying stuff, but watching it. And I consider these situations pretty unique. I mean, think about that. From up here all the way down below $10, almost to $5, then you get a good solid bounce. So is this bounce the start of something bigger? Is this thing getting, is this, because in one sense, this is just essentially a bear pennant pattern that has formed. So, I mean, is this getting ready to roll back over? That's another scenario. So, yeah, there's a lot of scenarios that you can look at, but the key scenario that matters to most of us as traders is huge volume, big volatility. So if you like these sets of circumstances, you like this price range, then definitely keep an eye on this one for Wednesday. Next one here, ticker symbol TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to go up, this one will also go up. It makes it a very popular ETF because it's at a much lower price range. But I will say this resistance zone I've been talking about quite a bit. But what I am going to do now is I'm making a bit of an adjustment because we have a level here that has really revealed itself now in terms of where the sellers are hanging out. And that is right up here at $50 or $51. I mean, maybe you already noticed it, but 51, not exactly, but close. 51, not exactly, but close. And then once again, 51, not exactly, but close. So let's just call 51 a key area of resistance. But even if the price breaks above there, don't get too overly excited because not that far away, you then have another key area of resistance right up there at 51.30. But, with the new data that we've established over the past couple of days, it seems definitely most accurate to adjust this area of the resistance zone up here now to the initial level at that 51 mark, as it's now struggled 3 times to get above that area. In terms of areas of support, good to see right here, the pink line, 200 paired moving average has been doing a good job. So you look right there from this morning, and then this afternoon didn't hit exactly, but that's definitely going to be a key level. And if the price were to drop back down there and fall below there, I could definitely see another leg of momentum to the downside picking up. But so far, so good. That level has held strong. And in some senses, looking like maybe just a sideways channel is forming. Top of the channel up here at 51, bottom of the channel down there at that 200 paired moving average, but we'll see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely get signed up for that free class. It'll be in a couple of days on Thursday, January 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do a couple things for me. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment down below. Those things help out the channel, and I really do thank you in advance for it. So go get signed up for that free class. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.